Steve, in looking at the world, trying to understand the deep structure and what it's all about, is there a God, is there a non-physical world? I personally am focused on the human mind. I did my doctorate in neuroscience, not that that helped very much, but it's been a lifelong passion. You have also focused as a physicist on the human mind, as looking at what it can tell us about the nature of the world. Is there something beyond the physics, beyond the materialism that atheists would generally look to? So describe for me, from your point of view as a physicist, how you see the human mind. And we both recognize that you believe in God. Right. So you believe that God created the kind of human mind that you're going to tell me how it exists.
Right. Well, there's certainly a lot about the mind that could be understood through physics, chemistry, neuroscience, and so forth, where the brain is a computer and a machine, and a lot of it can be explained in science in that way. But there are arguments, some of them coming from physics, that there's something about the human mind, perhaps about any mind, that is not reducible to physics. And one of these comes from quantum mechanics, and this line of argument's been around since the 1930s, since John von Neumann and other people made this kind of argument, that there's something about the mind that is observing nature that is not reducible to the laws of nature.
Because of the requirements of quantum mechanics that you need an observer?
Right. In essence, the issue is this. The laws of physics, the quantum mechanical laws of physics, never, in general, only give you probabilities of outcomes. Right. That's all it can ever give you, generally speaking. But when you make a measurement, there's a definite outcome. And so the question is, is everything that happens when a measurement is made or an observation is made, can that be described by the equations? Apparently not, because if everything were described by the equations, you'd remain in the realm of probabilities. You'd never get the definite outcome. We know the measurements give you definite outcomes. So something happens in measurement that's not reducible to the laws of physics. That's the line of argument. It's called the measurement problem.
And that would lead you to the necessary existence of something outside the physical closed system to make that observation?
Exactly. You're always, in quantum mechanics, you have the system that is being observed and you have the observer. And you can explain a lot about the observer, but you can't lump the whole observer into a physical system described by the laws or the whole thing breaks down.
Immediately, I have a lot of objections.
Yeah.
First objection is that for any kind of sentient observer, call it the last 500 million years, but the universe had 13 billion years of history at least before there was anything sentient, even if it's not a human sentient, that you could observe things. So there was quantum mechanics going on then that seemed to be working.
But there were no definite outcomes. So I would say.
So you have all these histories back there that were very vague until retroactively backward causation somehow.
It doesn't have to get to that, but if the universe had never given rise to sentient life, for example, then I think what you would have is these constantly branching, ramifying possibilities, and they would never settle on one history. All these histories you'd have what's called the many worlds interpretation.
Well, some people believe that you have that now. In fact, I've been surprised myself to see the number, maybe it's just the guys I hang out with, but the number of physicists who have moved towards a multiverse interpretation, which says that you don't need an observer because you have all of these different universes occurring anyway, so you don't need a choice in the wave function.
That's right, and that is really the alternative. If you want to be a strict physicalist and you want to say that there's nothing special about observers, we're just physical systems like the rest of the universe, you are driven to the many worlds because, again, there's no observer to collapse the wave function. You are forced into the many worlds interpretation. And I think, that may be a completely consistent view, though the many worlds interpretation has problems. It could be a consistent view. But I think that's the baggage you have to carry if you're a physicalist.
It's awfully heavy.
It's heavy baggage, because then you have to believe that there's virtually infinite number of copies of you. On one branch of the universe, you're lying on the beach in the Riviera, another you were never born, and all this kind of thing. If you can believe that, then you have no problems. You can be
Then you can be
physicalist.
consistent. And a lot have become that.
Yes,
And-
I think
and-
in desperation, because they're clinging to physicalism, and I think that's where physicalism will lead you.